to Squipedalian.
Hey, I know what we're gonna analyze. The episodes in season 5. Hope it brings you laughter. This is Afterferb. Welcome to the second part of our first episode of Afterferb, the Phineas and Ferb discussion podcast. It's me, I'm Alex. I'm in the same spot I was last time. On the other side of the continent, we got Andrew, we got Zach.
Hello.
Hello. It is, in my time zone, very early in the morning on June 6th. The day has come. The day has arrived. How are we feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm currently, in regards to what I'm drinking, triple fisting. I have a cup of water, a cup of Diet Coke, and a Dodgers Golden Road beer. So I'm having a great time.
I have a bottle of water right here. But yeah, it's still June 5th here on the Pacific Coast. It is the Phineas and Ferb Season 5 premiere date. Been nearly 10 years since the show was last on, so it's a little surreal. Also, today was the day the Nintendo Switch 2 came out, so I've been playing that.
The vibes have been immaculate.
Big day, big day.
Big day. Someone pointed out, actually, in the comment section of our first episode, which, by the way, thank you to everyone who listened.
Yes, we got 1,000 views in a few days.
Thank you for telling us what you think of the podcast, and thank you for engaging with us.
And thank you for reminding us that we've completely moved on past Andrew's Phineas and Ferb fan origin story, because I shared mine and Zach shared his, and then we just kind of moved on. So Andrew, now's your time to shine.
So it all started when I heard the song "Snacks" by Linda.
Oh Jesus!
I was there. As far as I can remember, I was there when Phineas and Ferb first aired on Disney Channel, following High School Musical 2, because I remember watching High School Musical 2 as it aired. I don't think that. I don't remember having any really big impressions from the pilot, although now I do really love Roller Coaster. What I remember more distinctly was like a little bit later seeing Flop Stars airing on the channel. I was like flipping through channels and I was like, that triangle kid has a weird head, but the song was catchy and I thought the humor was really good. And before long I was just like following season 1, catching the episodes as they aired. I remember watching some with my brothers, like in my mom's bedroom on her TV. I just kind of fell in love with it, and I watched it through all 4 seasons. Definitely more closely followed 1 and 2. 3 and 4 I just sort of caught here and there. But by the time Last Day of Summer rolled around and I caught that, I was like, wow, a lot of time has passed. This feels really surreal. Last Day of Summer aired right around the time that I was graduating from high school. And then when I got to college, my friend Nell wrote a Kim Possible parody musical. And I thought that was just such a fun idea, taking a kid's cartoon and turning it into a stage musical. And I thought, like, Phineas and Ferb is prime for that, because the songs are already great, and I love the story, and I feel like it'd be fun to write like a semi-original plot with that. So we said this a little bit last time, but yeah, M.W.C.A. I wrote and directed a production of it in college. Then during the pandemic, we did a virtual edition. We found people on TikTok. That's where I met you guys.
What's up?
Became this whole big thing. And the reception to M.W.C.A. I think caught all of us off guard. A lot of really passionate fans had a lot of really great things to say about it. We caught the attention of some of the people who work on Phineas and Ferb, including Dan and Swampy, who did cameos in M.W.C.A., as well as Vincent Martella. And then I think it all sort of peaked about a little more than a year ago. We got the chance to visit Disney Television Animation and talk to the people who were producing the new seasons of Phineas and Ferb. Should be noted, we weren't really given much insider information, and nothing that will affect the way that we're talking about the show. We're only going to talk about the episodes that are officially aired.
Oh, we also haven't had a platform to address this yet, but now we do. A couple days after we went to Disney Television Animation, a YouTube channel that goes by the name of Charter Schoolgirl started releasing...
We love you, Charter Schoolgirl.
We love you.
Whoever you are,
we started releasing Charter Schoolgirl started...
Zach, you're admitting to it. You can't say we.
Charter Schoolgirl started releasing high-quality MP3... Not MP3... What do you call those? Not remasters.
Just audio recordings of the songs that didn't have sound effects, just like raw studio mixes of the songs.
Yes, of ones that never made the soundtrack.
Stuff like My Cruisin' Sweet Ride and like Aerial Area Rug.
Which had an extra like line.
Yeah, songs that really deserve to have soundtrack releases that never did.
And someone on Twitter said, wait a minute, Charter Schoolgirl is releasing these songs 2 days after M.W.C.A. was at Disney Television Animation. And so, for the record, we are not Charter Schoolgirl. We are not affiliated with Charter Schoolgirl.
If I remember correctly, Julia at one point stepped out during our tour to go to the bathroom, and we don't know what she did during that time.
That's a good point. Julia could be Charter Schoolgirl. I'll have to ask her.
I just want to say, whoever Charter Schoolgirl is, if you're listening, we would love to have you on as a guest.
We can even have your voice like, hello,
yeah, we'll put it through.
We can modulate it.
All that to say, we're getting a little sidetracked here, just like that episode with Lila.
Season 4, episode 6.
Yes. Thank you to Charter Schoolgirl. We are not associated with them. Visit to Disney Television Animation was really special for us, and it's very surreal that this show that we've been following for so long and hyping up for so long is finally premiering here today.
There's this Phineas and Ferb Instagram account, which I think is relatively new, or it's only started posting things now in the lead up to the premiere season 5. Did either of you have the experience of Cloudy with a Chance of Mom kind of getting spoiled for you a little bit literally this morning by that account?
Yes. Are you talking about the very end shot with
Yes,
that shot was spoiled for me this morning by the official Instagram, which I thought was a very odd choice, but also, I mean, it was visually entertaining, so
yeah, I mean, I did see that screenshot as well. To be fair, though, some of the other previews have had clips of Linda that are clearly not in that original episode, so I don't think it was like a big oh, what do you mean she survives?
Yeah, no, it wasn't so much the Linda survives, just more of the her not remembering anything was that's a bit of a spoiler.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, so the episode Cloudy with a Chance of Mom starts. No break. We're right back where we started. And we very quickly find out that, to quote Baljeet, inexplicably, your mother's vaporized bits have coalesced with the high humidity. And that is why suddenly there is an enormous cloud that is shaped like Linda's head, which is the personification of Linda. I have to say, overall, I really liked this episode. I think it's impressive that they jammed all of this into 13 minutes. It is probably one of the most convoluted plots the show has ever come up with. I had to watch the episode twice, and I literally had to take notes just so I could remember which character was doing what and why.
But that's also, you make a really good point. I feel like it's funny how much Phineas and Ferb's friend group has whittled down to I know they usually get a bunch of the kids involved, and now it really is always just Phineas, Ferb, Baljeet, Buford, Isabella. But they give Baljeet, Buford, and Isabella each something to do and make use of those characters really well. And it honestly, in a way, felt like this could have been series finale-ish. It felt very...
Oh, it felt very cinematic.
It felt like a 45-minute special or Disney Channel original movie or something. It was... They jammed... I can't believe that it was 13 minutes.
I do agree that there's a lot happening. I think structuring it like part 1, the summer blockbuster, is a little bit shorter than Cloudy with a Chance of Mom, and I think that helped it out a lot. I will say, for as convoluted as it is, I still think it was paced really well. I think that's something that some of the other shows like Milo Murphy's Law and Hamster and Gretel occasionally have run into issues with when they pack too many things in. But at least in my opinion, despite everything going on here in Cloudy with a Chance of Mom, I thought it was executed really well.
Yeah, one of the things I noted, which I think, Andrew, you noticed also because you put it in your bullet points of things you want to talk about, was Phineas kind of just immediately jumping into his role as number one delegator and all right, this is your task. This is your task. I'm this is where he shines. This is his number one strength.
I loved that so much because I feel like a lot of times in high stakes situations we've seen the cliche of Phineas yelling at his sister and getting angry, but this is a stakes he's never felt before. He could lose his mom. And it was interesting to see how Phineas basically took the approach of no time to get emotional about it. I'm just gonna buckle down and lead. It's probably the most serious we've seen Phineas in the series.
Yeah, the fact that we got I know what we have to do today in
chills.
Part 2 of the first episode, that was crazy.
He has not said that before, has he?
No.
That was fantastic.
Mm-hmm. We've got a real life, no fun. This isn't fun and games anymore. We're not 10 years old. We're 11 now. We have to do things now.
We're 11 and this is deep.
Yeah, I'm 11 and this is deep.
I saw that on that subreddit.
Yeah, no, I think the stakes felt, I mean, as soon as Linda becomes a cloud, you know that, like, okay, she's not actually dead. But despite that, I still think just the tone of the way the characters were reacting to it did heighten the stakes a little bit. And also, by the time the episode really starts going and it's got, like, the storm clouds developing and all of the characters jumping into action, it felt very cinematic. And I thought that was so cool. I thought that was such a memorable way to start the new season.
Yeah.
It felt kind of like the climax to Across the Second Dimension
a little bit.
/ Candace Against the Universe.
She even mentions the mysterious force.
She mentions the mysterious force, and also the fact that it was the waterworks that was it was an emotional ending, or not emotional ending, but I felt like what Candace contributed to this also felt like something you would see in one of the Phineas and Ferb movies, where she, I don't know, it's not just all fun and games.
Where it's like the stakes of what's physically happening in the situation are intertwined with the emotional relationships of the characters.
Yes!
And that is what I love to see from this series.
And we don't normally see that in the standard 13-minute episodes. We usually see that in the specials. So to see that in as tightly compacted as it was moving, and also I think a terrific introduction, like, to the reboot. Like, they could have easily have just, done a standard Phineas and Ferb episode, but the fact that the stakes were this high and that it felt so cinematic, it really has set the tone for the rest of the season to be phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm galvanized by it. I got a thesaurus from our last recording.
I feel galvanized. Wow.
Wait, he literally has synonyms of excited pulled up on Google right now.
Podcast.
I gotta stimulate the audience or kindle them.
Well, Zach, this is G-rated. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's for Afterferb. Anyway, was I the only one who didn't notice my first time watching it that the Whack-A-Pest was a reference to the theme song?
Yeah, no, I watched it with my roommates, and not all of them caught that right away. I thought that was a really fun callback. Yeah. As soon as they said Candace get the Whack-A-Pest, I was like, hey, from the theme song! But it's weird because this is the first time that we've actually seen it, like, materialized. I know for a while fans were paying attention to, like, all the things in the theme song of Phineas and Ferb, do they actually do them? Do they actually find a dodo bird? Do they actually climb the Eiffel Tower? We never considered the visual gag of that. What is it? What are those machines called?
Whack-A-Moles?
Whack-A-Mole, thank you.
By that logic, are we going to see Phineas painting Candace's face at any point during the season?
I hope so.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they're going to have it. Wait, something that they've never had a big face painting booth. That's never been one of their big ideas.
A face painting booth?
Yeah, and so that could be
maybe that's how Irving can find his calling.
How Irving can what?
How Irving can find his calling instead of the kissing booth.
Oh, yeah. Good usage of Irving in this episode, by the way.
I will say, we have a friend, Say, who pointed out that they didn't like how Irving was getting the short end of the stick with how much he was sort of being made fun of in Summer Blockbuster. But I will say, in part 2, at the end there, they give it a really nice little moment between him and Candace, just him getting some recognition and a hug.
Yeah, it was a little nice moment, and honestly, that's enough of Irving for this whole season. I don't really need to see him anymore.
Oh, you don't want any more Irving?
No, just give me Albert. I don't need any Irving.
That's kind of a hot take.
Are you an Irving hater?
I'm not an Irving hater. I don't know. I find him annoying.
I think he's good as a recurring character. I don't want him to be part of the main gang, but I think every now and then he has his charm.
Yeah, I guess. One other thing I wanted to mention about Phineas delegating the tasks at the beginning there. At first, when he said, basically, Buford and Isabella, you have to go after that balloon, I was like, oh, this is so... Buford and Isabella are going to meet Doof in the first episode. Are they going to remember him from Candace Against the Universe or anything like that?
Yeah, I also thought that's where they were going.
I also thought that's what... Yeah.
And
at this point, if Phineas does meet Doof again, like, they should remember each other. It's been more than a handful of times at this point.
Yeah, well, especially Buford, because... Well, I think you can take Second Dimension out because they got their memories erased.
Sure.
I guess now they've met each other... Well, Candace Against the Universe. Buford met him in that one episode where he was, like, his assistant or something. Was there any other...
I think they briefly interact in Finding Mary McGuffin because he shows up at their, like, yard sale.
He interacts with Lawrence.
With Lawrence,
yeah. Yeah, that might be what I'm thinking of.
Mm-hmm. Anyway.
But definitely Candace against the universe. That's like, yeah, they should remember each other by this point.
Yeah, instead the chicken just kind of, chicken balloon just sort of flies away, which is all right.
I honestly thought that since it was the first episode of the season, that the chicken balloon was going to reappear later with I can't believe that you created a balloon fair for the farm and didn't get any balloons. What'd you think? A chicken balloon was going to fall out of the sky?
I'm sure we'll see them. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, but I thought that's... Because we never saw the chicken balloon resurface, and that seems like a gag that would have resurfaced.
Yeah. Speaking of gags that I was expecting to resurface, I really thought that the Linda telling Lawrence not to leave the pie booth under any circumstance was gonna have a bigger payoff.
Like I thought the cow was gonna be right on the edge of the pie booth, and then all that was gonna happen, and Lawrence was gonna be like, "Oh, did I miss something?"
Yeah.
And be completely oblivious to anything that happened.
Yeah, I kind of thought the same thing because they go out of their way in the first part to go back to him singing the little "This is the job my wife gave to me." So I was like, all right, there's gonna be a big. And what I expected was within like the first minute of this part 2, like Phineas or someone was gonna be like, "Dad, you have to help us," and he was be like, "I can't. I have to stay at the pie booth." Like some
boys, you go on your adventure.
A joke like that, and instead they just kind of, it seems like he almost had no idea what was going on the entire time.
Yeah, you see him like holding onto his pies, and then when they're all back at the end, he just goes and sings with them. I think that could have landed a little bit better.
This is a spoiler for a future episode, so if y'all are haven't seen it yet. I'm not going to be super specific with it, but in one of the other episodes that they aired tonight that we also watched, they make really good use of Lawrence with a callback gag towards the end of the episode.
Yeah.
And I thought, while I was disappointed with his usage in the first episode, I think in the same night, getting a Lawrence moment like that, I was like, nice.
Yeah, I'm glad he's definitely got more moments on the way. I'm glad Richard O'Brien is still around to just like do it seemingly as much voice work as they want him to do.
I love Lawrence.
Me too.
I feel like in the original run, Lawrence's best moments are when they really lean into him being British.
Where he just starts rambling.
Yeah, what's the one where he's like, just because I'm British, you assume that I want to go bird watching and drink a cup of tea. Actually, that does sound nice. And then he goes.
I don't remember, but that's a good gag.
Lawrence has always been such a funny character.
Yeah, I think honestly one of the most underrated songs is the Fletcher Family Flying Circus from Father's Day with Lawrence and his dad.
Oh yeah, I barely remember that.
Also, speaking of songs, what was the song in the second?
Song of the Summer, but performed by Love Handle.
Yes. Oh, that was such a good reveal that Song of the Summer was Love Handle.
Yeah. Although I kind of agree with what I think you said before, Alex, that it's like the Song of the Summer is usually like some current pop artist like a Sabrina Carpenter or a Miley Cyrus. It's funny that it's just Love Handle.
Yeah, it is fun. It sort of has like kind of a Beach Boys sound. I guess not really Beach Boys, it's not very harmony heavy, but they're kind of like rockabilly type of thing. And
I could hear that.
When you listened, like, I don't remember exactly what the lyric was because I've only heard the song like twice, but there's a line in Song of the Summer that's like, and this is the Song of the Summer just because we decided that it is, or something like that.
Yeah.
So that kind of answers Doof's question of who decides that it's the Song of the Summer.
Love Handle decides.
Yeah.
Good for them.
I also like the callback, like the Albuquerque 92 all over again. Or what did they say in this one?
Cleveland?
Cincinnati.
Cleveland, that was it.
It was some city in Ohio.
Yeah, there were a few callbacks.
Shout out,
I think to Across the Second Dimension specifically in this episode, which I found fun.
Yeah. I feel like we got to talk about Dr. Doofenshmirtz a little bit.
Yes.
We absolutely got. I mean, again, we're gonna talk about the episodes 3 and 4 a little in a couple days from now.
Yeah.
I thought Doof was fantastic in those. Really in peak form. But from this one in particular, I really, really like that they have this bit with basically Major Monogram giving Doof his ideas. The whole unguessable scheme. I feel like there are two things I really like about that. First is I think Doof is a little bit smarter now. I feel like the idea of calling Major Monogram and being like, oh, it's my unguessable scheme you can't figure out, to like trick him into giving him an idea is something that last summer's Doof would have thought of. And the
side note, that kind of goes off what I said last week about how the characters are learning from last summer, and they all seem a little mature, and it does feel like they're a year older. So it's really good nuanced writing. I like that.
Yeah,
sure.
He's hitting his prime at age 48 or whatever. But
I always love when they find ways to make Major Monogram just like something a little bit more than just giving Perry his mission. I liked in Candace Against the Universe when they have that whole thing where he's like telling Perry not to disturb the ecosystem of the planet. Like they find really funny ways to implement him being on a phone call. And I think this episode was a great example of that.
That's great. Yeah, and the second thing that I really loved about that is it kind of hints at Dr. Doofenshmirtz not being evil by nature, because this scheme in particular seems more disruptive, significantly more disruptive than most of his schemes. Like he's causing this big storm and, you know, making this enormous cloud come to life and almost be evil type of thing. But this is like not something that Doof came up with himself. It's Major Monogram told him how to do it. So it's like he's completely unable to be that degree of evil without someone else basically instructing him on what to do.
There's a line they put in here where it almost seems like Doof has caught himself off guard because he's like, "Look at how evil I'm being!"
I'm
like
so
he
evil.
wasn't prepared for. Yeah. Well, also while we're on this topic, I really like that when Doof goes to call Francis on the phone, his only contacts are Vanessa, Perry, Major Monogram, and Poison Control.
Yes.
That was just a very good gag.
Yeah, where's Charlene?
That would have.
You'd think for in the case of an emergency, he'd keep her around.
Yeah. I only have 4 friends, and one of them's Poison Control.
I only have 4 friends, and one of them's a platypus, and the other one's Poison Control, and one of them's my daughter.
Also, like, in regards to Perry, I think Perry, I don't know if it was a parachute, it must have been a parachute, but he flowed past a sign that said WindCon very early on in Clyde with the Chance of Mom. And I was like, what is that joke referencing? I thought it was just a weird visual gag. And then the payback later with WindCon was such a funny... Oh, that's what they were foreshadowing.
One of my favorite things in Phineas and Ferb is just like the Danville citizens and some of the like non sequitur or just like incidental remarks that they'll make.
They're completely arbitrary.
Yeah, although I guess in this one it was a little bit more tied into the plot, but just all of the jokes they were making with WinCon. This show loves to be really tongue in cheek with how like it knows when it's putting something there for the sake of convenience, and it leans into that rather than like trying to act like it's natural. And I think by having WinCon be a thing in the episode where they're chasing a giant cloud, that was just really funny.
Yeah, I feel like the joke with like it blows, it sucks. I feel like that's the type of joke that Disney Channel in like 2009 would not have wanted to air. I don't know, talking about it sucks. I feel like that would have gotten the big no from S&P back in the day.
I don't know, because Shooting Star Milkshake Bar has the shake your asteroid.
That's true.
And also, Major Monogram straight up says it sucks in an early episode of Phineas and Ferb.
Does he? Does he?
Like, but I think it's something about a vacuum, I think, as well.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, this sucks.
I think when they have plausible deniability of it being wordplay, they're slightly more free in what they can say.
Probably. Like, like Xavier Onassis is one that apparently just S&P just didn't flag whatsoever.
Wait, what is that one?
Save your own asses, like the time traveler who escaped.
Oh, I never even noticed that.
Wait,
I didn't know. Dan mentioned it in an interview at one point, and I was
Save
like,
your
I never noticed that either.
Xavier Onassis.
Xavier?
Yeah, what episode is that from?
Wait, is that Candace's kid?
No, that's the time traveler in It's About Time that they reference who, like...
Right.
Xavier Onassis.
Yeah.
Xavier
Oh my
Onassis.
god.
Yeah.
Wow, well, today I learned.
That's great. Shout out writers.
Shout out to Xavier Onassis. Yeah, no, I loved WinCon. I loved the completely unnecessary but super fun detail that Baljeet loves WinCon.
Yeah, I really liked the
They
moments.
become so commercialized. That was really, really
Yeah,
fun.
I like the moments that they gave to Baljeet in this episode. One thing I think we forgot to mention, we were talking about Summer Blockbuster, is how Baljeet has changed a little bit of a character. We haven't really seen him be bullied at all this season. He actually... in Summer Blockbuster, like he's the one that pushes Buford into the cotton candy. They're keeping the fact that he's a nerd around, and I think they lean into that a handful of times in this episode. But he's not always like, just getting the short end of the stick.
Yeah, for sure. He's a lot more interesting this way, I think, as the sassier one. They're like, it was this episode where he's like, is 269 a prime number? Like, I feel like that
Yeah.
type of attitude.
That kind of circles back once again. Like, it over the last year, Baljeet's gotten more confident.
Yeah. Compare that to when he like asks Phineas and Ferb to help with his portal to Mars, and he's just like so stressed out about it. It definitely shows a little bit of growth.
Wait, y'all, I just realized something. Does Candace Against the Universe, do we know for a fact that takes place in the first summer, or could that potentially take place in this summer?
I'm pretty sure it takes place in the first summer because in Such a Beautiful Day, Candace is singing about things they've done this summer and names a bunch of things.
That's a good point. I was just thinking that, like, Baljeet, I remember in Candace Against the Universe, was also given a lot of moments that showed way more personality. Yeah. So I didn't know if that just fit with the timeline or if the writers are just having way more fun with Baljeet than they probably have before.
I think it's a little both.
Okay.
Yeah, I think even by the end of the original run, he was starting to be this way a little bit, being a little more like, hello.
For sure. Yeah, he was great. I also I like some of the moments they gave to Isabella in this as well. I liked her little off comment, like, I have to save my future mother-in-law, and they're like, what? And she's like, nothing. Man, it's so little, and listen, I'm not like the biggest Finn Bella shipper in the fandom. I do ship them, let me clarify, but I just know there are people that are way more passionate about it than me.
Wait, you call it Finn Bella?
Yeah.
It's Finn Bella.
That's what they say in the song and what might have been. But the fandom likes Finn Bella.
Okay, then I guess I'm not part of it.
I think that was kind of Carly's initiative. And at the beginning, I was like, oh, I don't get it really. And then now after a while, I am on board, and Finnabella sounds kind of like awkward and weird to say. And I don't know why.
Boo. Anyway, Andrew, you were saying.
Yeah, my point.
Before I rudely cut you off.
No, you're good. I'm not definitely not the biggest. There are Finn Bella shippers who are way more passionate about it than I am, but I still really appreciated seeing that moment. I feel like it's been a long time since they've let Isabella, like, again, going back to Candace Against the Universe, she kind of doesn't really acknowledge her feelings for Phineas at all in that movie. So I like this balance where it's a part of her character, but it's not the only part of her character.
Mm-hmm. Cadence, I think, has a theory, or maybe it's a little wishful thinking, I don't know, but I found it really interesting anyway, that the bit this season with Finn Bella is going to be Phineas, instead of just being completely oblivious to the fact that Isabella likes him, is instead going to still be completely oblivious, but oblivious about the fact that he likes her. Like, other people are going to start picking up on it before he has even picked up on it.
Oh, that's cute.
That would be a good twist.
I would like that.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, man, she's so pretty, and then, like, what? Like,
walks away.
What?
Yeah.
That's just what I say about my friends.
Yeah.
All my friends are pretty.
Yeah, I don't know if there's been anything to suggest that's where they're going, but that would be fun.
I would like that.
Well, Vincent and Allison kind of teased it in an interview a little bit. I think Vincent said something about, I said some word about, like, two-way, I don't know, something mutual, I don't know. But anyway.
Ooh.
Yeah.
One as a side note, right before this premiere aired on Disney XD, I think that's where we were watching, it was immediately preceded by Last Day of Summer because they were just showing a rerun of it. And that line in the middle of Curtain Call Time Spent Together, where
you
Phineas,
just wait 10 years.
Yeah, that hits so much harder now that this episode is airing 10 years after the last one.
Almost to the day.
Yeah,
it's insanely.
Yeah.
It's a week because last day in 2015 was June 12th, so we're about a week out. Part of me wishes they had waited a week to make it exactly 10 years, but also I'm not going to complain how soon we got Phineas and Ferb content. So
yeah. I think it was pretty dang close. It felt like a very cool circle moment. It's also cool watching going back to Summer Blockbuster, the fact that it just begins with, and the time loops were getting smaller and smaller, just seeing that right after watching Last Day of Summer, there's something really cool and satisfying about it.
And also, you could interpret Phineas's wave at the end of Last Day of Summer as a wave hello. Like, welcome back! Like, versus him waving goodbye.
No,
like,
pushing
by
it
showing it
bit.
beforehand, it's like, welcome back. I'm putting too much emphasis on it. Anyway.
I feel like I also want to, in addition to WinCon, talk about some of these other gags involving saving the cloud and keeping it from being destroyed. This is literally a make sure mom doesn't die sequence, and it's one of the funniest parts. And in particular, I love the mini golf one. This is such
Oh
a
yeah,
fantastic.
that felt like a throwback.
Yeah, it really one of my favorite Ferb moments of all time was from Ain't No Kitty Ride, where he needs to get like a nickel extremely fast, and he like dances as a busker for like 10 seconds and gets a nickel and like throws it like into the air, lands it perfectly in the machine. That's Ferb at his best.
Yeah.
He does this exactly here. Like just swing, hit the golf ball, get it stuck in the gears. Incredible.
Ferb has Riz. They showed that even in Summer Blockbuster when he's just like bouncing on the trampoline with his ice cream, and then one of the poses he's just like laying down.
Yeah.
Like, listen, there's a reason he ended up with Vanessa.
Yeah. So
Anyway.
in the Act Your Age canon at least. Anyway.
Yeah, in the Act Your Age canon. We're gonna get comments about that.
Yeah. You know what this reminded me of?
Which we like comments, so
Yeah.
that increases our engagement.
If
So
our
yeah.
engagement gets up, then that's a good
yeah,
thing.
let's just keep saying controversial stuff.
Honestly,
no, I'm kidding.
I think do I want to say this? Do we want to have like a Ferb Nessa versus Montessa war going on in our comment section or no?
Ooh.
No, you know what?
That's opening a can of worms.
Good job stirring the pot, Alex.
All right. We'll see. We'll see if it becomes a story later on in the season. Then
Okay, here's what
circle
I'll
back.
say. Here's what I'll say. As somebody who does like the headcanon that Ferb and Vanessa end up together, I will concede in that the Monty Vanessa romance arcs are interesting. It's that star-crossed lovers thing. It's like the Romeo and Juliet. They can't be together. I think that is inherently interesting. So I'm down for them to explore it more.
Something that I hope they explored that they didn't acknowledge in this one was Vanessa's Alka internship.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that wasn't mentioned, unless they're saving it for a reveal later. But what's funny is that I feel like even in Last Day of Summer, it's only mentioned in a passing line and doesn't really...
Well, no, it's kind of a big part of Last Day of Summer. That's when it's brought up.
Yes, but I feel like there's no super payoff at the end except for Doof saying, if you want to do it, you can. And then we never really...
Yeah.
We never see her do it. It's never really brought up.
In a weird way, it's almost been retconned even prior to this, because in the Alka Files,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
when Doof joins the O.W.C.A., there's absolutely no reference to Vanessa being there.
Unless she was just so good at her job and being undercover that even Alka doesn't know.
I don't know. I could see Vanessa trying out that internship for like a week and being like, it's not for me, and quitting.
Yeah, she's like, I'm over this.
Was she in the rest of the episode?
No, she only shows up to be like, oh, hey, Dad, you're back to being evil again.
She was busy writing it.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. Olivia Olson's on the writing team. I'm sure Vanessa will have more to do. One more thing that I noticed about the timeline as well is upon rewatching Summer Blockbuster, when Monogram mentions that Perry's been on like robot insectoid duty for the last 9 months, that kind of retcons Milo Murphy's Law. Because they had that whole arc where Perry's duty during the following fall was like looking after Doofenshmirtz and making sure he wasn't doing more damage by being good. I wonder if they even thought of it, or if that's just not a priority to them.
Yeah, okay, the thing with Milo Murphy's Law, yes, okay, it's been completely retconned. Even, like, there was a big plotline in Milo Murphy's Law where the Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated building was completely destroyed, and therefore Doofenshmirtz had to, like, live with Milo Murphy and his family for a while.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like, look at all the other times during Phineas and Ferb when his building was destroyed, and then it was fine in the next episode.
Yeah.
But even besides that, there's so much time travel and alternate timelines that I feel like it can pretty easily be just wiped away as like, oh, this is a different timeline from all of that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fair way to think about it. If for the fans that want to try to map this timeline out.
Yeah. I saw Jonathan was tweeting today. Yes or no, do we get new Milo Murphy's content within the next 24 hours? Fingers crossed. I hope we get something.
I think there will be at least a passing reference somewhere in the season, because Milo's in the season 5 poster.
That is true.
I don't think it'll be anything major, but yeah, I'd be surprised if there were no references at all.
I mean, we already got the hamster and Gretel street signs, so
yeah, in like one of the first shots.
At least you can do is give us a Milo and Murphy street sign.
I want them to show recurring raccoon and just reveal that he's been killed.
Jeez.
Never. How can he be killed? He's recurring.
Not anymore.
That's a good point.
Oof. Yeah, the one last thing I wanted to say about like the directing the cloud, avoiding it being destroyed, especially the part where they use like the big billboards, like the pizza billboard and stuff. It reminded me so much. Andrew, you might remember. Do you remember that level in Super Mario Galaxy with like the bubble blasters? Like you're blasting the bubble around and you don't want it to go into the fans.
Yeah,
I was like, this
the
feels
one where you have to
directly
point the
inspired
cursor at
by
the
this.
screen.
I'm getting like the visceral memory.
That's funny you say that. When that sequence was airing, Zach was like, "This feels like a video game."
Yes, it felt like Super Mario
yeah.
Galaxy in one particular level from it.
And I said that, and I'm not even a gamer.
Yeah. It also, I don't know if anyone is this level deep in their being a Phineas and Ferb fan, but if you play the Across the Second Dimension video game, there also is a level that takes place in like a cloud dimension, and if I remember correctly, you're on a moving cloud and you have to dodge obstacles. So yeah, it was definitely giving a little bit of those vibes.
By the way, in regards to just how the episode wrapped up, I liked how much everybody was contributing to containing the mom cloud. But then at the very end, Perry coming in and doing it, terrific payoff.
Yeah.
And also,
Oh my gosh.
that was very Candace Against the Universe as well. How like all the kids do something to stop it,
Yeah.
and then Perry comes in clutch.
One thing I find really, really satisfying, not even just in Phineas and Ferb, but just in media in general, is when it gives all of the characters opportunities to be integral to like solving a problem without it feeling forced or contrived. And this episode, I think, was a prime example of it. You can think of specific examples for Phineas, Ferb, Baljeet, Buford, Isabella, Candace, and Perry all having their moments to shine. And that moment at the end where everything is ready to go except the extension cord is unplugged and Perry has to swoop in, that was hype. Like, I got chills from it. That
Because
was
I was
so cool.
thinking, is it going to be Candace? Like, is Candace going to like run and do something? But then that one, it felt contrived. I feel like Perry was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like, well, Candace's big thing, her big role was basically, being able to lure mom back and make her cry by connecting with her emotionally.
Yeah.
In a way that maybe Phineas and Ferb are unable to do, not mature enough to be able to do.
Absolutely.
And with Perry, what I love more than the fact that it was like, it could have been plugging the thing back in. It could have been any way that he helps. But I liked it. I feel like the show is making more of an effort now. And we even saw this in Candace Against the Universe, maybe more than it used to, of reminding the audience that Perry is also like looking out for the family and looking out for the boys. Because most of the time he would, go up to Doof and come back, and he wouldn't really have anything directly to do with the rest of the family. And of course, there was the occasional episode that was Across the Second Dimension where you're reminded like, oh yeah, they love each other, they have a great bond. But I like these small moments where he's more like consciously aware, like, all right, now I'm going to help them out. I'm excited because I think there's going to be some more of that.
Yeah.
Something I thought was going to happen.
Or
that
not
didn't,
excited.
was-
What's some other word I should use, Zach? What else?
Oh, let me pull it up. Okay. Exhilarated.
Yeah, that's
There you go.
Aroused. Nope. Why is that on there?
That's for Afterferb.
Afterferb.
Yeah.
Something that I thought was going to happen that didn't was there was that moment where like Doof was going, while he was looking at the cloud. And I thought that Perry was going to look at the cloud and realize, oh my goodness, that's Linda, and have like a moment of panic or emotion. And I was surprised that didn't happen, but also I think he came in at the right time in the story. But the way that they were setting up the framing with Doof looking like off to the side and the cloud head being next to Doof, I thought it was going to be Perry realizing. And do you remember that moment?
Yeah,
I think that was. I feel like they more were playing that moment just to have Monogram chime in and make Perry concerned that he was affecting it in that way.
Yeah, it felt like they were leading us down one path, but I like the path that they ultimately did lead us down.
And I guess when you look at it as a whole, even in addition to each character having their moment, if you zoom it out even further of like which characters affected the plot, like the fact that they got Monogram in there too, I think just added to how well written this episode was.
Every character impacted the plot. It was terrific. No, it was.
I mean, without Coltrane there, like
Yeah, well, what would they
the
have
stakes
done?
wouldn't have been high. Or Jeremy coming in during the.
Oh yeah, Jeremy's back.
Yeah.
All right, we gotta mention this. We gotta discuss. All right, I'm proposing that we launch #JeremyWatch officially right now.
What to like have him like say anything, or what do you mean by?
I don't know.
Jeremy
We
Watch?
just got to be on hyper alert in case anything happens with Jeremy, because we got him. I was very surprised. Not only does he show up, but he's obviously, he's right next to Candace. They're not trying to hide the fact that Jeremy's there. They're not trying to hide the fact that he and Candace are probably like a thing, although they don't really hug or kiss or anything. And they even go so far as to include Jeremy in the extremely hyped up family photo that was referenced in part 1. And Stacy's in there too, and I think like, are the Fireside Girls even there, or like some of them?
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, we're looking at it right now. So it's the Flynn Fletcher family, Isabella Baljeet Buford, Stacy, Jeremy, the Fireside Girls, and then if you want to count it, Love Handles like in the background.
And the couch.
And Buford's couch.
Yeah, and Buford. Yeah, honestly, if I'm Linda, I'm going like, all right, what the hell are these kids doing in my picture? Get out of here.
Yeah, this is not the family picture.
Yeah, we can do a friends picture after. Let's take care of our family picture first, please. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay, but also I'm looking at the picture right now. You could crop it perfectly because the 5 of them are still in the center. Like, you could make a really narrow crop and have it be the picture.
You could. All right, so that solves that problem, I guess. But still,
well, okay. But do we think? Here's a question. We still haven't heard Jeremy say anything. Although he does speak. I forget what they all say in unison. Where it's like brand new summer. Yeah. I mean, he is moving his mouth for that. I'm curious if that was M.W.C.A. I mean, I guess by the time people are listening to this, we'll know because presumably 10 episodes will be.
Yeah. But yeah, I think. Honestly, because I listened, even from the first time, I was like, I think I heard M.W.C.A.'s voice or something that sounds like it. And I listened to it again, and I was like, I can single out a voice that sounds like M.W.C.A. I don't know if it's him. I don't know if it's someone else. I don't know if they went to the archives and somehow he had already said Brand New Summer in the past. That would feel like kind of overkill or going overboard a bit. He wasn't credited, and I don't think anyone was credited as Jeremy. So I don't know. This is a mystery. So this is why we have to launch hashtag Jeremy Watch.
Jeremy, we should start hashtag Jeremy deserves credit.
Okay, we can launch both of those Jeremy themed hashtags. Jeremy Watch and Jeremy deserves credit.
Yeah, I'm a little bit less worried. I think he'll be in the season. Hopefully voiced by M.W.C.A., but if not, that's okay too.
If not, Matthew
wouldn't we know by now? Because
Yes.
we've seen like the whole cast list and he's not there.
I don't know.
Well, we'll see.
But it'd be weird to not acknowledge him.
He'll be there. I'm sure of it.
We'll see. I guess we'll find out pretty darn soon.
What if it was the late Gilbert Gottfried as Jeremy? Like, they just replaced M.W.C.A. with Gilbert.
What if?
I guess we'll never know.
I guess we'll never know.
Is there anything else about this episode y'all want to talk about?
Yeah, I just think it's funny because it feels like, as we've mentioned, it feels cinematic. But also the very end reminds us, hey, this is just the first of many in the reboot, because Candace says like we said, it's a brand new summer, and then Doofenshmirtz has his like, we're back, baby moment. And I think that's a really good reminder to the at-home audience, like, yeah, you just saw a very high-stakes situation, and it just wrapped up beautifully, and this felt like a movie or a 45-minute special, but we're just getting started. And I thought that it was a very... It was a
Milo Murphy's Law reference.
Yeah, it was a fun way to kind of like circle it back to the very beginning. Like, yeah, summer's starting right now. This is a brand new summer. This is a new season. Buckle up, Wildcats.
Buckle up, Wildcats. Hell yeah.
Did you see the Phineas and Ferb Instagram also posted that thing recently that was like degrees of Phineas and Ferb to Troy Bolton?
That was so funny.
What was that?
They connected it so convolutedly, even though they could have just gone right to Ashley Tisdale.
Yeah, it was so funny. And I was like, man, so many people in the comments, I was like, come on, this is obviously a joke, everyone. And the Phineas and Ferb account even said, like, yes, we could have gone directly through Ashley Tisdale, but this is much more fun. And they connect, what do? They connect, like, M.W.C.A. through, like, Hannah Montana, and they jump through all the way through, like, Zach and Cody and Camp Rock before they get back.
They reference, like, Corbin Blue's character on Hannah Montana.
Yeah.
Like, it's, yeah.
They could have done Casey Undercover.
Yeah, Zach's here to plug the fact that he was on the Disney Channel series Casey Undercover with Zendaya.
Mm-hmm. Zach, what does your close personal friend Zendaya think about the Phineas and Ferb revival?
Oh, yeah. She hasn't texted me back yet.
Oof.
Yeah. Oof. It's okay. I'll live.
Oh, I thought you were gonna make something up for the joke, but whatever.
Oh yeah, no, she loved it. She just texted me back right now. My phone just pinged.
Whoa, Zach, is that Zendaya's phone number?
Yeah, we're in a special club of people whose names start with Z. You guys wouldn't get it because you're in the beginning of the alphabet.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're stuck in the A club. Oh well. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I love
That's okay. Ashley Tisdale just texted us.
The Doofenshmirtz, nice. We're back, baby. It felt like a very tasteful, kind of like Dan Poffenmeyer fourth wall break.
He said that almost the same soundbite, I think, on his TikTok when the series was announced to be coming back.
Yeah. And I loved so much the old style credits that they still have.
Yeah, with the graphite font.
Including the song going over it. I was like, this rocks.
Yeah.
Real blast.
And one thing that's really cool, too, is, the difference between watching this series now versus when we were watching it as it was airing is a lot of people in those credits, the writers and the voice actors, like, we've gotten the opportunity to meet and sort of learn more about how they make this show, and that's really rewarding to see.
Honestly, I was just sharing on my Instagram beforehand that this silly show has meant so much to all of us, and has really, because of it and because of M.W.C.A, it's set all of us up on a trajectory and really changed our lives. And the fact that we get to enjoy more of it is truly something that is a blessing's a corny word, but I'm just really thankful for it. And I'm thankful that this thing that really does mean so much to all of us is continuing and also thriving. It feels like they never missed a beat, and this feels simultaneously right at place with the original series while also being something new. And where's my thesaurus? Thrilling.
Nice. Yeah,
Maybe I already said that.
It definitely. I mean, I've loved these first 4 episodes, and again, we haven't talked about number 3 and 4 yet. It would be hard for me to say that it's better, but in a way, it feels richer than the original.
Yes.
Kind of in the sense that they've clearly had 10 years to think of more ideas, and there's kind of, it sort of feels like creative pow is kind of going on in the writer's room, that they're getting just the best of the best out here.
One of so we watched this with our roommates Julia and Ben, and after watching the series of all 4 episodes, Ben was like, "These are so good. Why did they take the break? Like, why did they ever stop in the first place?" And I can understand why. If I remember correctly, Dan and Swampy have talked in interviews about how when the series was airing initially, they wanted to quit while they were ahead. They wanted to quit while they were proud of everything they did, and they felt like all the ideas they had were still coming in fresh. And I think they rounded it out with just doing a few more specials rather than keeping the seasons going indefinitely.
Yeah.
And I think that was a wise choice because taking this 10-year break that they did and coming back to it, it is a little bit of a different tone. It feels a little bit more evolved. It feels a little more mature. And like you said, just richer. So, I'm very grateful the show's back. I'm very grateful it ended when it did in the first round. I think this just goes to show the strength you can have by just pacing yourself out with a work like this.
I guess it just goes to show that the 10-year break is going to be necessary before you start working on M.W.C.A 2. Anyway, there's one more thing I want to say in our wrap, as we begin to wrap up, I guess.
Yeah.
From all the way back in episode 1 of season 5, way back when, you might remember, I had misheard something Buford said. And I was gonna bring it up in our first part of this pilot episode of the podcast, but I don't know, it slipped my mind. I forgot. I didn't feel that important. But Buford was saying bread bowl hot tub. Now I had never heard of a bread bowl. I don't know what that is. Just like a bowl of bread.
Let alone bread bowl.
You're missing out. It's delicious.
So I heard him say Red Bull hot tub, like the energy drink. I thought, Buford wants a hot tub full of Red Bull, and I guess hot Red Bull.
That would track for him.
That feels like very much a thing Buford would want. So I don't find that weird. The only thing I find is interesting is that this is like a brand name, so I guess they would have had to acquire some kind of legal rights or some kind of loophole for this joke. I don't know how it would work, but I was like, is he really saying Red Bull hot tub? And I listened to it multiple times and I was like, yeah, he's clearly saying Red Bull hot tub. And then it was only in a caption,
but then he rephrases it at the end. He says a jacuzzi in a loaf.
Yeah, but I didn't understand what that meant because it had nothing to do with a Red Bull hot tub. So I was like, I don't know, he says jacuzzi something, I don't know, whatever. But so I just want to pitch that idea because obviously now Buford wants to have a bread bowl hot tub. But to the Phineas and Ferb writers, if you're listening, he probably also wants a Red Bull hot tub.
Ooh.
So
Well, he also wants that because Red Bull gives you wings, and I think Buford likes chicken wings. So
there you
This
go.
this is totally off topic, but I went to the Nintendo Switch 2 launch last night at GameStop, and they were giving out free Red Bulls to everybody waiting in line.
did you get wings?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Did you pour the Red Bull into a big hot tub to make a Red Bull hot tub?
I think I would have needed more than the one can that they gave me, but maybe if I purchased enough Nintendo Switch 2 systems.
No, you just need a smaller hot tub.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
See, Zach, that's using your logic.
Thank you.
All right. Do we have any final special thoughts or words of wisdom about Cloudy with a Chance of Mom?
The only other thing that I wanted to point out that we haven't is the line that between Isabella and Buford early in the episode when she goes, "Is it just me or does that cloud kind of look like your mom?" And Buford goes, "Wow, sick burn." That was one of the funniest lines in the episode to me.
Zach, anything to share? Any last hurrahs?
I guess to kind of circle back to what we were talking about in the first episode, it was Cloudy with a Chance of Mom, but we got Mom.
We got Mom.
Yeah, so
Thankfully.
yeah, no, they did keep us on the edge of our seats though, or at least they would have if the Instagram didn't spoil it. But I loved it. I loved the song. I only saw it once. I know y'all saw it twice, but I want to watch it again. And I'm just so enamored with this show and how it continues to make me laugh and make me smile and just be such good storytelling to this day.
Yep.
It did a great job of setting the tone for what's left.
Amen.
I am very hyped. Tune into our in our next episode. We will be talking about Submarine Sandwich Submarine and License to Bust, and we're gonna
Hopefully with a guest.
we'll have a guest. Who knows? There's I guess here's a little teaser for that episode. There's one joke from Submarine Sandwich Submarine that I think was one of my biggest laugh out loud moments in Phineas and Ferb history, and I don't know if anyone will be able to guess what it is. So there's a little teaser.
Ooh. Leave your thoughts in the comments on what you think that moment was for Alex.
Yeah, place your guesses, place your bets, and I suppose
Right after you finish telling us your opinion about Ferbnessa.
Yeah, and actually, no matter what, any comment that you leave on this video, please include the hashtag JeremyWatch.
Hashtag Jeremy Watch.
Every comment must end with hashtag JeremyWatch.
That's how we'll know you listen to the full
Or
episode.
if you honestly just want to comment hashtag JeremyWatch without anything else, that works perfectly fine too. Will help us with the algorithm, probably, I imagine.
Yeah, no, the engagement really does help. We loved reading your comments on the first episode, and yeah, if you have something you want to hear us talk about, a question you want to ask us,
Yeah, any questions for us, not only just about Season 5, but about M.W.C.A.
Casey Undercover,
Or even, my knowledge on that is very limited. Or us just in general. Please ask us any questions. And also, what did you think of Summer is Starting Right Now? That's not the name of the episode. Cloudy with a Chance of Mall.
Cloudy with a Chance of Mall.
The YouTube name is lying to me. Why does it say Summer is Starting Right Now? That's not the name of the first episode.
Oh yeah, there is Disney Channel Animation on YouTube did fully upload the entire premiere and titled the episode "Summer is Starting Right Now."
Yeah, that's not the episode.
Which is just the song. So
Wait, is that what they're calling both parts combined? Summer Blockbuster plus Cloudy with a Chance of Mom equals Summer Starting Right Now?
I think it was just a typo, to
Probably.
be honest.
Yep.
Anyway, let us know what you thought of Cloudy with a Chance of Mom. Were there parts of it that you liked, parts of it that you didn't like? I'm
Parts
trying
that
to
you
be
thought were just
officially
okay.
hosty.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening, everyone.
Thank you.
You can
Thank you.
subscribe on YouTube. Hit the like button. Always good to remind everyone of that.
Follow us on Spotify.
Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music. I think we're on a lot of those places now. Pretty sure, like 99% sure. And yeah, send this to all your Phineas and Ferb friends because I mean, if anyone is a Phineas and Ferb fan, they should probably listen to a Phineas and Ferb podcast. Which
It would be ridiculous if they weren't.
Yeah, seriously. What, do they listen to other podcasts? No thanks.
Yeah, if you're not a Phineas and Ferb fan and you're listening to this podcast, hi Dad, thanks for the support.
Well, as we say at the end of every episode, Cloudy with a Chance of Mom.
Cloudy with a Chance
of Mom.
Hey, I know what we're gonna analyze. The episodes in Season 5. Hope it brings you laughter.